Steve Roberts now available. There's questions from Dave Say. Go ahead.
Hey, Dave, just curious the thought process of not having Joc start against Woodruff with the success that he's had in the past.
I think it's more on recency and giving us, right now where AJ is at, Will Smith, the way they're swinging the bat. I think that, want to get Joc going, get the right spots. But personally, I just feel that, with Woodruff having a elite fastball at the top of the zone, I just haven't seen Joc, get to it and handle it this year.
How much does winning last night change the dynamics for you guys tonight? How big of an advantage is it to have Kershaw pitching for you guys tonight?
It's anytime you have Clayton pitching for you, it's a huge advantage. But I just think that we're in a good place. I think our bullpen's in a good spot. I think Clayton, with an extra day, is in a great place mentally, physically. We've been playing good quality baseball for weeks now. And so, our goal is to finish it out tonight.
Thank you.
Yep.
Next question is from Alanna Rizzo. Go ahead.
Hi, Dave.
Alanna.
Could you ever have expected Will Smith to have given you this amount of offense this year? Not only just the quality of at-bats that he's given you, but also the power. We knew how good he was defensively and how you guys thought about him with the glove, but are you surprised at how well he's developed on the offensive side of the ball?
Very impressed. Obviously, the credit goes to Will and the hitting guys. He and Robert have a great relationship, have had for a few years. I'm just really impressed at the ability to control the strike zone versus right. When you're talking about an everyday player, an elite offensive player, those are the guys that can control the zone against both left and right and slug, and Will has certainly done that. So there's a reason why I've got him supplanted in the middle of the order.
With Walker yesterday, you knew that you would be, making sure that the blister was okay, that the pitch count was okay. With Kershaw, I would imagine you can just let him go as long as he's efficient and effective.
That's right. That's exactly right. I think the plan, which really wasn't an exact plan yesterday with Walker, we had to kind of feel it out as we went along, and that's what we did. With Clayton, I think it's more about just pitching to effectiveness, and as long as he's doing that, then he'll be in there.
Backs against the wall for the Milwaukee Brewers. Ryan Braun not in their lineup. Again, how do you make sure Christian Yelich isn't the one that hurts you, despite the fact that he's not having his career type of year that we're used to?
Yeah, I think that I touched on it a little bit yesterday, with whether Cody and Christian Yelich, as far as former MVPs, and didn't have their best seasons, but they still are who they are, and you still got to tread lightly and be, make pitches against those guys. So I know Clayton, he's got a lot of history versus Yelich, and he'll pitch him the way he sees fit, but also appreciating who's behind him.
In the event that something crazy happens and you do have to have a game 3 here tomorrow, are you willing to announce who would start that game? Unless I already missed that.
Honestly, I don't know. And that's a lot of that is contingent on tonight. And so I think that we have some good options, but until we see how tonight unfolds, we just don't know.
Makes sense. Thanks, Dave. Good luck.
Right. Next question is from Rowan Kavner. Go ahead.
Hey, Dave, as a guy known for his speed during your playing days, do you have a soft spot for guys like Terrence Gore, and what's it been like getting to know him?
Terrence, it's been great getting to know him, and I just really applaud him for, he wasn't really active with us for quite that long this season, and he was at the secondary site, and then to be diligent and working on his jumps and reads and playing defense and the bunting and all that stuff for the potential unsure opportunity to be active on the postseason roster. That's a credit to him and his character. And yeah, I do think in the short series, when you can supplant a guy that essentially gives you, call it a 95% success rate against a pitcher-catcher combo, that's good. And so we'll see if it comes to that situation. But yeah, I am maybe a little bit biased towards a player like that.
Thanks.
Next question is from Jorge Castillo. Go ahead.
Dave, last night you said you wanted to see the video of what Kenley did last night. What did you see?
Yeah, it was that's the thing is that I can make assessments from the side, but I really can't appreciate what the baseball's doing and the swings. And I thought it was much better than I expected, or than I thought. So, you just take away that Joc Pederson at bat, but everything else was right where it needed to be.
Is that slider become more of a, I don't know, it looked like last night like a 12-6 more to thing to it. Is that pitch changed a little bit?
Well, there's a slider that's supposed to have the depth that he got a fly ball, and then I think he got a ground ball. But then there's the cutter that we actually like it to be a lane changer or with a little bit of rise, but I think it's kind of at times it has a little bit of that slider depth. So that's something that we're continuing to kind of work through. But again, the stuff was pretty good last night.
Is he available tonight?
I'll talk to him and see. I would assume he didn't have a high workload, but we'll kind of see where we're at.
And we spoke to Brewstar earlier. Obviously, he had a very good year, but he struck out 5 guys per 9 innings, which is, the guy who throws that hard, you see usually bigger numbers there. What can he do to put guys away?
I think it's a sequencing thing, and I also think that guys sometimes that throw hard, and it's a two-seamer, hitters typically want to get out of the at-bat a little bit sooner, so there's early contact. And I think, the punch is great, but also soft contact where you can put guys in the right place to convert outs. That's the main goal.
Next question is from Bill Plunkett. Go ahead, Bill.
Hey, Dave, got to say I'm a little surprised by the fairly significant change in your tone about Kenley between last night and today. Did you talk to him? Is this partly a way to show confidence in him?
No, it's me really going back and watching the video. And that's the thing is that, again, you can look at it from the side and, I saw the Joc Pederson at bat, but when I looked at all 4 at bats or 5 at bats, it's better than I thought. And that's a good thing for the Dodgers.
His velocity was down again, though, and has been in a few outings recently.
Yeah, that's something that, that's not a good trend. And I think there was one in there. There was an 86, and that's what kind of checked me up initially in the outing because I'd never seen that from him. So that's what kind of initially, but then, but yeah, Bill, the last 4 outings, I think there's been a little decrease in velocity, certainly.
You see anything physical causing that?
I don't. I don't. The training staff and everything I've heard, he still feels good. But the facts are the facts, and I just don't know the answer.
I thought I saw him throwing in the bullpen when I walked in. Was he going to work on something today?
Yeah, he was working a little bit on the front side and just kind of trying to see Kenley's always, he's a big man, so he's always trying to work through that delivery.
Different topic. Your third baseman was conducting interviews with ESPN during the game yesterday. When did you become aware that they were going to mic up a player, and what are your thoughts on that? Yeah,
I got wind of it about an hour before the game, and personally, I'm not a fan of it. I don't know the arrangement, and I learned late, so I don't know. So it's kind of, baseball is kind of evolving, but yeah, I don't know. You don't sound happy about it. No, it's like I think that's a decision Justin made. But I don't see that happening with our guys going forward.
would you step in and tell a player not to do it?
Yeah, going forward, I don't want our guys to do that.
And it's simply for you, it's too much of a distraction in the middle of a competition and a playoff game. Fair to say?
Yeah, that's fair. But I do think that if there's any player that can balance it and still be present, it is certainly Justin. But I just personally, I think that I wouldn't mind if Yelich did it or any other team we're playing.
Thanks, Dave.
Yep.
Next question's from Eric Steven. Go ahead.
Dave, when Terrence Gore was with you guys earlier and then he got designated for assignment, did you have any type of conversation with him that he might get this opportunity later, or did you have to have that type of talk with him?
I did, and it was more of once that happened, you got to wait the 7 to 10 days and see how it plays out. But if he were to be back with us, we'd be very fortunate. And once that did happen, just encouraging him to stay the course for that potential opportunity, for this potential opportunity.
He said earlier that you told him he was a faster you, but he also said, he ran like a 4.2, 4.3, 40, something like that. What's your fastest 40 time?
4.45. So he was a considerably faster me. So I'd still take me stealing a base over him, but he's not he's not a bad second choice.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Got another question from Dave Assay. Go ahead.
Hey, Dave, just to follow up on Terrence Gore and the comparisons between you and him, I remember you saying after you stole those bases in Boston that everybody knew you were going and you had to have that courage to do it. Does he have that trait in him?
He does. He does. And I'll say this is certainly the foot speed, but also the confidence and the work that he and George Lombard are putting in behind the scenes is incredible. And that's just, I've talked about it. I just think the game honors you. And I think the game, if the situation presents itself, will honor him.
Thanks.
Go ahead, DG.
Hey, Dave, you had Gratterall warming up in the 9th inning last night. What situation would have brought him into the game?
Well, it was more of, I think it was a couple of bats prior. I just saw the 86 and I just didn't know if Kenley was okay. You don't want things to sort of spiral out. You want to have protection. It's just making sure that you cover your bases. So, and I think that you've got Taylor and Jerko coming up after Yelich, and I just wanted to make sure if we needed to pivot, we could do that. And I think that it speaks more to the confidence that I have in Brewstar than a lack thereof, which sometimes people want to perceive it as in Kenley, and that's just not the case.
So as of now, moving forward, can you say definitively Kenley is our closer right now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, Dave.
Yep.
We got time for one more. Go ahead, JP.
Dave, going back to Gore, given what he's done in the postseason in years past, and just that you're bringing him up again for this postseason specifically, I think there's a lot of excitement around when he might get in. You mentioned the pitcher-catcher combo and the game situation. What all goes into it in your mind? I assume you can't just throw him out there in any old situation.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different variables, JP. It's the pitcher-batter combo or pitcher-catcher combo. It's the who we're going to run for to essentially take out of a game. What's the inning, the score, the downside of having that player come out, the chance of probability of him getting to second base, and then who's behind him to then score that run. So there's a lot of things that'll go into that decision.
And just personally talking to him a little bit here, he seems like a really lighthearted guy, just easygoing, light on his feet. Is there a certain energy that he brings to the clubhouse beyond what he brings on the field?
Yeah, I think guys gravitate towards him, and he hasn't been around a whole bunch outside of spring training, the original spring training, and some summer camp. But guys like him, and he's a worker.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Doc. Thanks, everybody.